Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Christopher Daniels, and this is your 5-Minute Ministry Monday, your weekly dose of irreverent spiritual humor where I take a topic and then deliver a sermon about said topic in 5 minutes or less. I hope you had an amazing week. If you celebrated Easter, I hope you had a fantastic day. If you're currently celebrating Passover, I hope you're having an incredible time. And if you're not celebrating anything at the moment, I hope you're just having an amazing April day. I personally had a fabulous time at church yesterday, mainly because I wore this faux fur vest, which naturally everybody loved. And when they would comment on it, I would make the joke that I got into an altercation with the Easter Bunny. And I won. Now, for this week, I'm introducing a new series to the already established series, so it's like spiritual inception, called Lighten Up. And I'm going to explain a little bit about what that is. So backstory, ever since January, I've been asking myself and pretty much anybody who will talk to me a series of questions. These questions are, what does it mean to live a spirit-driven life? What does it mean to put God first? What does it mean to embody a passionate spirituality? And I started asking people in my life because I was curious people's insights and answers to these questions, and we would sit down over breakfast, brunch, lunch, supper, dinner, late night snack, and something I call God Talks. And I love God Talks because it's not about whether you believe in God or not. It's about just having rich and fulfilling spiritual conversations, and I find that it really brings people closer together, even if you don't agree in your beliefs. It's so refreshing to have these really in-depth conversations. And so what I started to do was compile answers and insights into these questions, and I want to share with you some of the thoughts that not only I have, but others within my life have as well. And I'm really excited as I delve deeper into these questions, what's going to show up for me on my personal path and journey. I'm also really excited to hear what might come up for you. And I would love to get together and talk about what's there for both of us. It would not be a 5-Minute Ministry Monday if I did not have my trusty phone keeping 5 minutes on the clock, and I thank the Lord every single day because I'm the person who drops my phone repeatedly, and yes, I know I do not have a protective case on it, and yes, I still drop it, and every time that I drop it, I think, oh Lord, this is it, my phone ain't coming back from this, and then my phone comes back to it, and I thank Jesus. So here's 5 minutes on the clock, here we go. Now, to kick things off, I thought I would define what spirit-driven life means to me. And that might be completely different than how you would define it. But for me, a spirit-driven life is about finding stillness and quiet within ourselves, abiding at the center of our being, that seat of consciousness where our soul resides, and being able to respond lovingly from a grounded place of truth as opposed to reacting to the chaos of life. It's about letting go of my egoic agenda and stepping fully into the divine purpose that God has in store for me. And finally, it's about releasing the illusions that I have about who I am and instead fully recognizing who we truly are. Now, I believe that God is communicating to us all the time if we just open ourselves up to the plethora of channels and means by which God does. And one of my favorite is when God speaks through others to us. It's just such a rich and beautiful conversation. And I was at church yesterday, which was amazing. The Lord was in the house, mainly because the music ministry did Avalon's song, Testify to Love. And as they were playing it, I was like, oh my gosh, jam. How do I know this song? And then it took me a while, but I remembered that it was featured on an episode of Touched by an Angel where none other than Winona Judd sang it. So of course, after service, I downloaded Avalon and Winona's version, and I've been listening to it incessantly ever since church. So I was at church, and I was sitting next to one of my favorite people of all time, Mama C, and I shared the story that in an interview, they asked Dr. Martin Luther King how he's able to accomplish so much in any given day. And Dr. Martin Luther King responded, I give the first hour of my day to the Lord, and he gives me the rest. Love that. And Mama C related her own experience of how she used to tithe 10% of her day to God, which when you do the math comes out to be a little under 2.5 hours. And when I thought of that, I was like, ain't nobody got time for that. I mean, think about it, really. What are you supposed to do during that time? Okay, let's say like I read the Bible and I meditate on the word and then I pull an angel card and I journal about the whole experience. I still have time left over. And then I started freaking out. I started getting nervous, and God started laughing, and he was like, child, there is nothing that you need to do. Which, of course, I started laughing because I'm like, God, that can't be right. That does not feel right to me. I must be doing something. And God said, well, if it will assuage your anxiety, you can tell me about your day. You can share what's on your heart. And I remarked, you care about such things? God was like, no, I was just being polite. Of course I care about such things. I care about you. And that for me is when my spirituality and my faith in God really changed, believing that there is a God who cares for me unconditionally and loves me with every bit. He loved me into existence. And I think about my own parents and my relationship to them, and I am not the best son in the world. I am not even remotely close, mainly because I struggle to respond to phone calls and answering texts and emails. And my dad is laughing right now because in my inbox is an email from him that I haven't responded to, but I'm going to respond to it. Dad, I'm going to respond to it after this video. Well, I have yoga. I'm going to respond to it after yoga. I will respond to it tomorrow. I promise. I will. I really will, Dad. And I think about our communion with God or Spirit or universal source energy that we can get so wrapped up in the busyness of our own lives. And that's what happens, is that we get wrapped up in our own self-importance. And when I heard about tithing 10% of my day to God and thinking, well, I have so many other things that I need to do, that I need to accomplish. And I've convinced myself that these other things are more important than a relationship with God, with my higher source, with Spirit. But that's how I feel. And when I think about my own parents and my relationship with them, some of my favorite times are simply just being in each other's presence and soaking in that love. It's not about what we did. It was just about the time that we spent together. And that's what God is asking us to do, is just simply sit in the presence and soak in his love and care for us. And how that might change our lives. We feel so lonely, rejected, and unloved in this world that we just want somebody to listen to us. No, we want somebody to hear us, but we're all wrapped up in our ownness sometimes that we're not able to do that for another human being. But there's God, there's your angels, or your ancestral spirits, a whole slew of team that is just waiting and wanting to help you live your best life. So use them. You just got to open the door to the conversation. Thank you so much. So, to live this spirit-driven life, I've committed to giving 10% of my day to God. So it's about an hour and a little bit in the morning, an hour and a little bit in the evening. And I'm going to see what comes up for me. I hope you have an amazing day, an amazing week, and stay tuned next week for a brand new episode of 5 Minute Ministry Monday. If you like what you see, please comment, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also comment if there's any topics that you would like me to talk about. I am always open to suggestions. God bless. Have a beautiful day.